Okay, guys, we're going to go over the answers to Unit 2 equations. This is Regents review from today's class. Making sure you guys have all the work and the correct answers for you guys moving forward. The math department needs to buy new textbooks and laptops for the computer science classroom. The textbooks cost $116 each, and the laptops cost $439 each. If the math department has $6,500 to spend and purchases 30 textbooks, how many laptops can they buy? So we're going to start by creating an equation here. 116t plus 439l has to equal 6,500. We know that the school purchased 30 textbooks, so I'm going to replace t with 30, and I'm going to continue to solve. Multiplying 116 times 30, we get 3,480 plus 439. L has to equal 6,500. And now we have a two-step equation. We're going to subtract 3,480 from both sides, leaving us with 439. L equals 3,020. When I divide by 439, I get L equals 6.8. So I don't quite have enough to buy 7 textbooks. I only have enough to buy 6 laptops, I'm sorry. Number 2, what is the solution to this equation? 3/5 times x plus 4/3 equals 1.04. The first thing I'm going to do is distribute 3/5 to both terms inside the parentheses, leaving me with 3/5 x plus 0.8 equals 1.04. I'm going to subtract 0.8 on both sides, leaving me with 3/5 x equals 0.24. And I can divide by 3/5. If I'm using the calculator, please make sure we put 3/5 in parentheses. If we don't, the calculator will divide by 3, then divide by 5, leaving us with an answer of x equals 0.4. I can also multiply by the reciprocal. I could have multiplied both sides by 5/3. Again, out of habit, use parentheses when dealing with fractions. Number 3, the formula for electrical power P is P equals I squared R, where I is the current and R is resistance. The formula for I, this means get I by itself, in terms of P and R is what? So if I start with P equals I squared R, if my goal is to get I by itself, the first thing I have to do is divide by R. So I'm left with P divided by R equals I squared. Look at your answer choices. The only two answer choices that have P divided by R are choices 1 and 2. In order to undo a term that's being squared, we have to square root both sides, canceling out the squared with the square root, leaving you with I equals the square root of P divided by R, choice number 2. Number 4, last weekend Emma sold lemonade at a yard sale. The function P of C equals 0.50 C minus 9.96, representing the profit P of C Emma earned selling C cups of lemonade. Sales were strong, so she raised the price for this weekend by 25 cents per cup, which function represents her profit for the weekend. Her original price was 50 cents per cup. So if you're raising it 25%, and we're talking about profit here, the only option it could be is choice number 4, 0.75 C minus 9.96. And number 5 on this page, given the set -2 to 2, where x is an integer, what is the solution of -2 parentheses x minus 5 is less than 10? First step is to distribute the -2 to both terms inside the parentheses, giving you -2x plus 10 is less than 10. And now we have a two-step inequality. Subtract 10 on both sides. -2x is less than 0. Divide by -2. When you multiply or divide by a negative, make sure we flip the inequality sign. So we need integers between -2 and 2 that are greater than 0. The only option here is choice number 2. Number 6, the value that makes this equation true is what? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute 2/3 to both terms inside the parentheses, giving me 1/6 x minus 4/3 equals, and I distribute 1/5 to both terms inside the parentheses, 4/15x minus 1/5. Using the graphing calculator is nice and easy because I could use the math enter feature in order to make the result a fraction. I have x's on both sides, so I am going to want to subtract 4 over 15x. Again, using that calculator is extremely helpful in this case because I could combine these using the calculator, pressing math enter, giving me, well, I could leave it as a decimal, negative 0.1x minus 4 over 3 equals negative 1/5. I want to add 4/3 to both sides, giving you negative 0.1x equals 17 over 15. In order to get x by itself, I'm going to divide by negative 0.1, divide by negative 0.1. Again, using that calculator, 17 over 15 divided by negative 0.1 gives you x equals negative 11.3, repeating here, choice 4. Number 7, Boyle's law involves the pressure and volume of a gas in a container. It can be represented by this formula here. When the formula is solved for P of 2, get P of 2 by itself. I'm trying to get this by itself, so I'm going to divide by V of 2. Looking at your answer choices, giving you choice number 3, P1, V1 divided by V2. Number 8, solve algebraically for x. We have an inequality here with x's on both sides. I'm going to subtract 1.02x on both sides. 3,600 is less than 2,000 plus 0.02x. Then I'm going to subtract 2,000 on both sides. 1,600 is less than 0.02. X, the last step, divide by 0.02. You do not have to flip any inequality sign because we did not divide by a negative. You can leave the equation, the inequality just like this here. 80,000 is less than x. If you wanted to write the x on the left-hand side, you have to make sure that you open up the inequality towards the x. So it would be x is greater than 80,000. Number 9, the formula f of g is equal to g m1 m2 divided by r squared calculates the gravitational force. They want the positive value of r, which means you have to get r by itself. So I'm going to start, in order to get r by itself, in this case I'm going to put this over 1. I'm actually going to cross multiply here. Fg times r squared is just Fg r squared. And g m1 m2 times 1 leaves it as g m1 m2. We're going to divide both sides by Fg. R squared equals g m1 m2 divided by Fg. And in order to get r by itself, I am going to square root both sides. R equals the square root g m1 m2 divided by Fg. Number 10, solve the inequality. Again, I have variables on both sides. I'm going to add 2y to allow me to have my variable on the left-hand side, also giving me a positive y value. I then subtract 1.8 on both sides. 1.6y is greater than or equal to 0.4. My last step is to divide by 1.6. Again, when I divide by a positive, I don't have to flip the inequality sign. I could leave it as 0.4 divided by 1.6. I could also have changed it if I was using that calculator. Y is greater than or equal to 0.25. Question number 11, Sandy programmed a website's checkout process with an equation to calculate the amount customers will be charged when they download songs. The website offers a discount. If one song is bought at full price of $129, then each additional song is 99 cents. State an equation that represents the cost C when S songs are downloaded. So we have to use C and S in this case. And this is a linear equation. Each song is 99 cents after we purchase the first one. We know $129 is going to be charged once. We're going to have plus 129. We have C equals. Now we do have to account for one song being downloaded. So we know 99 cents multiplied by S, but we also have to account for that one song that we purchased already. So 0.99 parentheses S minus 1 for the one song that was purchased at 129 plus 129. That's my equation. Then down below, it says Sandy figured she would be charged $52.77 for 52 songs. So 52 is S, 52.77 is C. I'm substituting this to see if it's correct. 52.77 equals 0.99, 52 minus 1 plus 129. I could plug this whole thing into my calculator. 52.77 equals 51.78. Is that true? No. The justification is my work shown. Number 12, Jim is a furniture salesman. His weekly pay is $300 plus 3.5% of his total sales for the week. Jim sells X dollars worth of furniture during the week. Write a function P of X that can be used to determine his pay for the week. So we have to again use P of X in this case, not X or Y. P of X equals $300 plus 3.5%. We have to turn 3.5% into a decimal, moving that decimal place over to the left. 0.035, and he sells X dollars worth of furniture. So there's my equation here. Down below, we're going to now use this equation. It says use this function to determine Jim's pay to the nearest cent for a week when his sales total is $8,250. So that is X in this case. So we have P of 82.50, I'm replacing X with 82.50, equals 300 plus 0.035 times 82.50. Okay, again, I plug this whole thing into my calculator, and Jim is going to make $588.75 for the week. And the last question for this unit, Ian is borrowing $1,000 from his parents to buy a notebook computer. He plans to pay them back at a rate of $60 per month. Ken is borrowing $600 from his parents to purchase a snowboard. He plans to pay his parents back at a rate of $20 per month. Write an equation, one equation, not a system here, that can be used to determine after how many months the boys will owe the same amount. So if they're owing the same amount, that means these are going to be equal. So looking at Ian's is going to borrow $1,000 from his parents, and he's paying it back. So I'm going to subtract 60M. Okay, 60 per month times the number of months here. Ken is borrowing $600 from his parents, and he's paying them back at $20 per month. So there's my equation here. 1,000 minus 60M equals 600 minus 20M. Determine algebraically and state in how many months the two boys will owe the same amount, and also state the amount they will owe. So basically I'm just going to solve this here. 1,000 minus 60M equals 600 minus 20M. I'm going to add 60M to both sides, and I'm also going to subtract 600. I'm going to do this at the same time. 400 equals 40M, and when you divide by 40, you get M equals 10. So that means 10 months they will owe the same amount, but it does tell you to state the amount. So what I do with 10, I plug it into either expression here. I'm going to plug it into Ian's here. 1,000 minus 60 times 10. Plug this into your calculator, and you get $400. So that means after 10 months, they both owe $400. Ian claims that he'll pay off his loan 6 months after he and Ken owe the same amount. So they owe $400. Determine and state if Ian is correct. Well, if I were to continue using the same expression, after 10 months they owed the same amount, and 6 more months, I could plug 16 in for M. In which case, if I plug this into my calculator, I get 40. Which means, is Ian correct? No. Still owes $40. Okay, so again, we're kind of building on the previous equation here. I'm using the $400 as part of it, or I could substitute 16 in for M